Okay, good seeing everybody. Appreciate you being here once again, and a lot of work, and going into a bye week now. Our focus going forward and what we can accomplish for the next 11 games and try to earn our way into the playoffs, which obviously, as pointed out last night, has not been done very often with the record we have, but we still believe we can do it. And really all the focus goes to really two things: the bye week and working through every aspect and issue that we can, find every way we can be at our best going forward with the players we have. It's going to be good to get players back. And then how we organize ourselves and craft our schemes, and then also how we work on them for the next 2 days in training camp or in the bye week. Like, I guess you treat it like a training camp maybe, but in the bye week to build those things into our offense, defense, and special teams, and then focus on the Bears game, you know, and being the best team we can be to win that game. What questions do you have?
John, as far as the pass rush, now that, you know, Adafe is traded and Tavius is hurt, you know, how big of a challenge is it going to be to generate some pressure coming off the edges now?
Well, I mean, it's been a challenge all year to generate pressure. So, you know, we're going to have to manufacture pressure. I think we talked about that the last couple of weeks. But also our guys are going to have to step up and create pressure on the four-man rush. We do it with simulated pressures, too, a lot of times. We did that in the game. We were able to move Stafford out of the pocket a few times and hurry him up a few times, which I thought was really good, even with four-man rushes and Sims. But we also had a few blitzes in there, too, that were good. So we've got to build off those things and do the job with the guys that we have.
John, I know you said Tavius' foot is broken. Is that a season-ending injury? Can he come back?
Thanks for that. No, it's not. We found out it's going to be 6 to 8 weeks, very similar to Isaiah likely. So he will be back during the season, yes.
John, related to that whole situation, is there an update on Adisa Isaac, or what is he season for the Adisa Isaac? Is he I know he had surgery on his elbow or something. Is he finished for the year? He's
not finished for the year. They're talking about maybe mid-November, late November for Isaac possibly.
So, Coach, the schedule for the bye week is the guys will remain around for a couple of days and then you'll set them free. Is that different, or is that standard from past years?
It's been different years. You know, we're going to be practicing. It's an early bye week this year, but we'll be going Tuesday and Wednesday with practice. We'll also be doing our studies all through the weeks, coaches, and working really hard.
John, do you sense that, I mean, with the injury to Robinson and an OA traded, you've only got three outside linebackers on the 53. Do you anticipate looking outside the organization, promoting from within? And I assume you won't go forward with just three.
Yeah, all the above, I would say. We have a couple guys that we like on the practice squad right now that are doing really well, so I wouldn't mind giving those guys a shot, one of those guys at least. So that's no option number one, the most obvious option, and then there's the other options you're talking about are certainly on the table.
Last year, as far as goal-to-go situations, you guys were among the most efficient.
Yeah.
This year, not so much. What do you feel has been the biggest change from, because it's so extreme, what biggest change from maybe last year to this year?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the exact comparison from last year to this year. It's hard to say. Obviously, the biggest change is we're not effective. I mean, it's been ineffective, basically, and that's been, I'd have to say it's been surprising. You know, we have not been able to punch the ball in, which last year we were able to do it. So we're looking at every aspect of it. Scheme, keeping people more off balance, effectively running a quarterback sneak, which was really disappointing. You know, we've had a couple situations this year where we took the ball off the line of scrimmage down there and didn't get in. So sometimes you say keep it simple and sneak it in, you know, but they were loaded up for it, but you still should be able to push it in there. And then not executing the play for the front that we wanted, and just not executing it the way we didn't block it very completely well. So all those things, and I think that's pretty much been the situation all the way through. If you look at all the situations where we didn't get in down there from the 1 or 2 yard line, it's been basically the same. So we got to work on that really hard. I mean, that's like the number one thing in my mind on offense is short yardage and goal line. We should be better. We should be way better than we are. I mean, we've never struggled in those areas, and I don't really understand why we are. I mean, I do. I look at the plays, but you want to step back and say, why is this happening? We're just not getting the job done, you know? So if we want to be the kind of team that we have, if we want to have a chance, we got to get that fixed. I mean, that should have been fixed. We've been talking about fixing it for weeks, and we've been trying to fix it for weeks, but we haven't done a good job.
Tush push. I know you had mentioned you guys not getting the push up front that you felt like you needed to make that play successful, but I'm just curious, what goes into why Mark Andrews as that guy as opposed to, like, I guess a guy like Derrick Henry in that spot?
Derrick Henry under there? No, Mark, the guy, he's a good ball handler. He's been doing it. I mean, Mark versus Derrick, you know, I think Mark is a guy we like Mark doing it. You know, he's a good ball handler, and he's had experience doing it. Derrick, that I know of, has never taken a snap under center. You know, so we'd have to teach him how to do that. Why Derrick over Mark? You know, why would that be better? So I think Mark's done a good job with it. We have Charlie's done it before. They've been successful a bunch of times. Derrick, I don't know where that idea comes from, but that wouldn't be a thought. No, that would not be a thought. That's not something we thought about doing.
So you moving forward with you'll continue to utilize the tush push, but
Yeah.
might you try it with a different twist?
Well,
at
we
all?
did it later in the game when we got on 3rd and 1.
With, along those lines, I know you said guys are always under evaluation, you're always looking at it. Are you considering any changes on the offensive line with, you know, given a guy like Emery once he's, you know, fully back, and or I know he's full back, but or Corey Bullock or any of those?
Yeah, absolutely. We're considering those kind of options for sure. And that's kind of what the bye week is for. I think it helps you with that. Those guys will get a chance to practice on Tuesday and Wednesday, which will be good for us to get those guys out there and see them. I mean, Emery, for instance, you know, he's a young dude. He's only been practicing for like a week. So there's a lot that goes into knowing what you're supposed to do under fire and pass protection. He hasn't done any pass protection yet because of his shoulder, so this will be the first week he'll have a chance to do pass protection. He hasn't been able to do that up till now, so you can kind of see the challenges there with that. But we're trying to get him up to speed as quick as we possibly can, and so he's up. We wouldn't put a player out there until they're, you know, ready to be successful. That wouldn't be fair to the player or to the team or the fans or anybody. But as soon as we feel like a guy like him or anybody else is really ready or the best guy for it, we would do it. We do have a couple of veteran guys that could, in the offensive line, that have been practicing, that would have a shot, that we'll take a look at this week and see how they look. And that stuff's definitely on the table.
John, speaking of the offensive line, it's been 3 straight weeks now with Ronnie where he's either had to leave early or he's inactive against Houston. We all know his history with the ankle and the surgeries in the past. Is this, you know, related to that in a big picture, you know, chronic type thing? Is there a new injury? You know, anything you can tell us?
Well, it's the ankle. You know, it's the ankle. So it's structurally good, or he wouldn't be out there playing. But it's just it becomes a matter of, you know, his ability to perform on it. You know, and that's kind of the only person that knows that is the player. You know, so you've got to go by that. But he's fighting to get out there and play, and he played about a quarter and a half. And so I was appreciative of that, you know. But, you know, having Ronnie Stanley out there is a big deal. I mean, it's a really, really big deal. So, you know, I think it's probably true for most teams. You know, offensive linemen, you know, they're important. And if you don't have your best guys out there, that's challenging, especially at left tackle. So this is going to be an important week for him, I would think. You know, it's just a chance for him to maybe get that thing a little more healed up, you know. And I'll tell you this, he's working really hard at it, and he really wants to be out there, and I appreciate his effort and his toughness and all those things.
When you took us through those goal line plays yesterday, you said some of it is just you got to get pad under pad and win. As a coach, how do you address that sort of thing with, especially veteran players who've been doing that their whole careers? I mean,
it's always a fight. Like, it's not just the other team's getting pad under pad too. So how do you address it? You know, they were stacked up to stop that play because we didn't really have an option off of the play. So I give them credit for that. So it was definitely running the play uphill. So you know, we acknowledge that. If you check, stop, get out of the play, whatever you want to do, you can do that. But we still thought we could get it there. We felt like we could move it, you know, half a yard to a yard, and we just decided we were going to try to run it in, and you know, that it didn't work. So we got to rethink it. We really have to rethink it. We're disappointed it didn't happen. I mean, to me, the game turned right there, Then it turned the start of the second half you turn the ball over, and the next thing you know, it's 14 points, just like that. So that's the biggest thing to me. That's where it turned. So if you look at that game, we played a really good football game in a lot of ways. I mean, I think our defense played well across the board. Our offense really played well. We had over 80 plays. You know, we've been struggling. We talked about getting plays. We had 50 plays average. You know, we have over 80 plays against a really good defense. We moved the ball. We moved the chains. We run the ball exceptionally well. We revamped a few things offensively on the run. I thought we did a really good job with that. But, you know, we had penalties. We had certain penalties that were, you know, they're close penalties, but they get called, and then they set you back. So that probably cost us anywhere from, you know, 7 to 10 to 14 points with those penalties in those two drives. Then you get the ball in a great field. You get a stop. You get a punt return. You get good field position. You march the ball down to the one inside the 1 yard line at the end of the half, and you got a chance. You should be coming away with 7 there, you know. And it was right to go for it, but you get to come away with nothing. So there's another 7 points, right? And then we come out and they go down and score. Unfortunately, would have liked to have stopped that drive somewhere along the way, but we didn't. And then we turn the ball over, and now they go score. And that's really, at the end of the day, where we were at. That was probably the game. You know, we still fought, but we took the opportunities to score the points away from ourselves, and that's what you can't do. So that's where we just need to get better. But I do like the fact that we operated as an offense, you know, with Cooper and with Tyler out there, pretty efficiently. We wanted to be more efficient, and we were pretty efficient. I'd say we were very efficient, actually. But we did the things you can't do. We committed penalties, and you turn the ball over, and that hurt us.
Sorry. I know you mentioned yesterday briefly about Alohi Gilman being here and the 3 safety looks. When you watch that game again, what's your take on how it worked?
Yeah. I thought it worked very well. I was really happy with it. I think it's you guys have all seen us enough. You know, you kind of know how that operates for us. So that was a big plus. A big plus. I'm excited about it going forward. I feel really good about what we can do defensively. Like, we have a little more versatility back with our guys. It kind of gives us a chance to lean into things we like to do defensively more. It should help us a lot.
John, did Marlon get out of that game physically okay?
He did. Marlon got out of the game physically okay, yes.
John, you talk about believing that you can still make the playoffs, and how much does Lamar's potential return? I guess, how much are you guys kind of looking at that to sort of bring?
Well, I'm leaning into that pretty hard. How much are we leaning into? I'm sorry, go ahead. I'll restate.
Like, psychologically, I guess, how much are you hoping that can sort of jumpstart your team?
Psychologically, how much am I leaning into Lamar coming back and playing? Yeah, I'd have to, if I was on the couch with a psychiatrist right now, if I was spilling it, I would have to say I'm leaning really hard into that. Really hard, yeah. For any kind of psychological well-being, spiritual well-being, I'm leaning hard on that happening. So I'm very hopeful that happens.
John, what was behind the decision to deactivate Peebles and kind of go short along the interior defensive line while leaving Jair up?
Oh, leaving Zaire up? Well,
going with Alexander active, he didn't play any snaps, and then but deactivating Peebles.
yeah. I think you just kind of feel like you go with the guys that give you the best chance, and I think we felt like we kind of we needed maybe Jair possibly. If somebody gets nicked up, we needed the corner. You had to have the corner against these guys, and I felt like we could get by with our fronts with 4 defensive linemen. Really, I mean, it's a 3 wide receiver offense. They put 2 tight ends in there sometimes. You know, they'll go 12 a little bit, but it's not really what they do. So you didn't really feel like you felt like you could live with 1 less D lineman. Plus, you know, now Tavius got hurt, but you can kick him down inside. And Peebles is really not really a run-stopping D lineman anyway. So if you're going to go with another D lineman, you'd want to go with a bigger guy anyway, because Tavius can rush inside as well, and all of our defensive ends can go inside and rush. So we just felt like the corner gave us a little more if somebody got hurt.
You guys obviously added Okoye to the roster with the various machinations. Has he impressed you over the last couple of weeks and sort of shown that he really can be a player in this league now as opposed to in some easy future?
I think he's come a long way, Giles. He's come a long way. I mean, to see him where he's at right now compared to where he was when he got here is just unbelievable. It's night and day. He's really done a great job. I got to give him credit. I got to give Coach Dennis Johnson credit. Done a great job with him. For him to be playing, really good, solid football in there, good run defense, and getting some pocket push too, is pretty impressive. And John Jenkins has done a really nice job. You got to give Herb a hand for the job he's done in there. I mean, Travis had a really good game. I just think all those guys played really well, and we can bring back on the practice squad some guys, for defensive line, or bring some guys up or whatever. We can still use those guys, but I think for him coming through for us the way he did has been kind of a real blessing. It's not something we really expected to have happen.
We touched on turnovers a little bit, but now I think 3 last time, three on Sunday. I know every turnover you can go through and judge it each way, but just in general, I mean, is there a way to try to limit it? Is it just going over film? Do you find it's more physical or mental mistakes happening, or what's your take on it?
I think it's more physical. I mean, to me, it's like it couldn't be more emphasized in practice or games. It just couldn't be, But we're going to have to find a way to make it more important because it's happening too much. I mean, you can't win by turning the ball over. You can't win by not getting turnovers, and we haven't gotten turnovers. You want to look at why the record is the way it is. Just start with that. I mean, that's the main thing, and we knew that, and we knew that coming out of the season last year, and that's why we made such a big, important emphasis on it. So we just have to get there as a team. Like when we find ourselves that way, when we are able to protect the football, especially like we've never been a team that fumbles a lot. We've had fumbles, but we've never been a fumbling team. Now all of a sudden we fumble. That's surprising, but it's happening way too much. So it's got to stop, and that's the responsibility of everybody, but it's mainly the responsibility of the person who has the ball in their hands, and they all know that, and they're very conscientious, so it's got to get done.
You mentioned that you guys aren't really a team that fumbles a lot. Obviously, Derek's not a guy who fumbles a lot. When people who already know the technique, is it more mental, and how do you address the mentality part of the turnovers in critical situations?
It's a hard thing to judge because there's no way to know the answer to that. It's a great question, but there's no way to know what degree it is. It's just you coach the result. You coach the technique of it. You coach the mental part of it in terms of being conscious about it. Being very conscientious about it, which they are. But you got to think about it in battle. Like if you watch Derek in this last game, he did a great job. He was running that ball hard. He was getting hit from every different direction. And the ball was completely secure in there, and I think he did a great job. So there's an example of, success with that. So that's just something everybody's got to be 100% completely and fully locked in on, which is protecting the football.
Can you demonstrate the Raven claw? Is that how you hold the ball?
Yeah, I mean the Raven claw is there's 5 points of contact on the football. Your hand is always going to be above your elbow, and your elbow is going to be tucked. And then the Raven claw is to lock it in like this over the top when you're in traffic. So that's what we teach. So that ball's not coming out. Usually when the ball comes out is when guys are in awkward situations, if you study it. A lot of the balls get punched out when guys are going to the ground forward, and the bottom elbow gets away from the body, and they go down to hit the ground, and the ball gets punched out because it's not tight. So it happened to our punt returner in this last game. Or when a guy's making a cut, he's moving, and the ball comes off the body just a little bit, and the timing of the punch happens at that point in time. So if you watch most turnovers, it's kind of those kind of situations.
John, now that he's practiced a few days, is it still your thought that Patrick Ricard is trending toward playing against Chicago?
I don't know. It's the way it works. The way the injury is it's pretty much recovered from that kind of a standpoint. It's just a matter of him being comfortable with his level of strength and his ability to perform. I mean, it's him being able to get out there and push himself through practice and feel like it's going to stay healthy, feel like he can move and run, change direction and power into people. I mean, it's really up to him. I mean, the only thing we can do is ask him how he's doing, how he's feeling, and if he can push himself to do more or not, because it's his calf, so that's all we can do right now. So I can't really make any promises.
John, whenever you have a team that's struggling like this, wasn't expecting to struggle like this. People will ask about leadership, coaches and players, but from your experience looking at player leadership, how has that been these last few weeks? Are guys holding each other accountable, et cetera, and moving forward as you come out of the bye and knowing what kind of run you have to go on, what do you want to see from player leadership to achieve that?
Well, it's definitely really important. I mean, I think you're exactly right to point that out. That's got to be a critical thing. It's something that we work on all the time. You know, it's I believe in our guys. You know, I really like our guys. I have great respect for our guys. I think our guys are really special people, you know. And I think if you looked at every one of those guys that you're talking about, the veteran leaders, that, you know, you could see why I would say that. And so, but working on that, because when you face adversity like this, you know, in football, just like in life, we say all the time, but it's true, and that's why you ask the question, because we all live our lives. It's something you have to really be intentional about, you know, and you have to talk to people about and ask them how they're doing and see what they're thinking and what they can do, what they think they can do, what they think needs to be done, what the best ways to say things or to approach things, and try to help with that as much as you can, you know, when you're in this kind of position. So that's what I try to do. I think it's really important to try to do that. So I feel like we're going to get great veteran leadership. I believe that. And we're going to have to your point. I mean, that's going to be, nothing's going to be more important than that.
John, along those lines, when you have a group of guys who have very high expectations, and then you take, say, penalties and other sort of self-inflicted things, among other things, have you gotten any sense that there is sometimes it's almost a snowball effect where you know, guys are maybe thinking too much or sort of almost afraid to make a mistake, if that makes sense?
I think it's a fair question because it feels that way, you know. It's like the old Jerry Coleman momentum question from way back when. And
There is no such thing.
I didn't see that transition coming.
And there's something to it. I do think there's something to it, you know, and you've got to find a way to put a stop to it and kind of get it moving the other way. And sometimes you feel like the calls go against you, you know, and it just feels that way. It's a little bit tight of a call, and you get it against you, and they don't get it against them, and it looks the same, you know. And you just can't go down that road. You can't live there because it's just the way it is. You just gotta fight to play clean football, you know, and do the best you can to play clean football, so they just can't call you for something. And we try to coach all those type of scenarios, whether it's, you know, downfield blocks when, you know, it's no different on special teams, a block in the back, as it is with offense. You know, you've got to find a way to kind of just keep coaching those things and talking to the guys about those things and drilling those things, because the momentum does start to swing if you keep coaching and you keep teaching, and the guys want to get better, which our guys do. So that's all you can do. That's all you have to do. You just have to keep after it, you know, and try to do things the right way.
John, I know you do a lot of studies, especially with injury prevention, or try to decrease the injury. But do you sometimes feel that, you know, it's just certain years that you just kind of be snake bitten sometimes? I mean, does it feel that way sometimes?
It feels that way. Yeah, it does. It does feel that way sometimes. I mean, I think when you get things like a broken foot, you know, those kind of things they definitely have to do with luck a lot of times. The soft tissue things, you can usually trace those a little bit, like our performance director. He traces those things, and I think he has a pretty good understanding of, you know, why we had a couple of the soft tissue things, so we can kind of monitor that kind of stuff.
John, is Cooper Rush still the second string? Is he still the second string quarterback?
I'm sorry.
Is Cooper Rush still the second string quarterback?
Cooper Rush, the second string quarterback. I'm going to say yes, but I would also say that we've got two backup quarterbacks. I believe that, you know, and we're going to have to see how we want to do the roster. You know, I've talked to Eric about that too. So I think Tyler's in the conversation, just like he was in the game. And you know, to be clear, I mean, everybody knew what the plan was as far as the possibility of both guys playing in the game. Since you haven't asked it yet, I might as well, because I saw the quote. But you know, Cooper knew that was going to be a possibility. And it was going to be based on the circumstances of the game, which, you know, I think anybody can imagine what they might have been. You know, if we're scoring those points and we don't have the fumbles and we score at the end of the half and we're playing a game with the lead, you know, probably nothing changes. You know, we probably play that game. If we're having trouble running the ball, then, you know, it would have been bringing Tyler in to do some of the quarterback-driven stuff along with the rest of the offense. That was on my mind as a possibility. But we weren't. We were running the ball great. Or if we get behind and you have the ability for Tyler to make some things happen, passing game and with his legs, that's a possibility too. So those are just those are scenarios that you can bring Tyler in on, and that was going to be something I was thinking about doing. So you could have seen Tyler early, especially if the run game was struggling. That was kind of my thinking early. So you can see why in the game why I did it, I think. You know, when you look at the way the game went, I think it makes sense. I don't think it would have made sense the way the first half was going up until halftime. You know, we were doing well. We just had the penalties that held us back. So that's how it went, and both quarterbacks were 100% fully aware of that.
And you have, Mike Tomlin seemed kind of miffed about the Flacco trade today, and he said it publicly. Did that resonate with you? Do you have any issue with maybe making interdivision trade at a position like quarterback?
I didn't think about it that much, probably because we don't play the Browns or the Bengals for 4 or 5 weeks or something like that. So I can't say that was on my mind. I was surprised. I will say that. I was surprised, like, wow, you know, Joe's going to the Bengals. You know, that would be about as much as I would say I thought about it.
A lot of questions about how other coaches and your players are holding up. But how about you? I mean, you haven't been through something like this in about 10 years. And I'm sure you hear some of the fans' frustration and all that. I'm sure you share that frustration. So how's it been going for you trying to deal with this, with the expectations coming into the season?
Right. Thanks for asking that. I appreciate it. It's been just tested. It's been the test. You know, it's been a test of faith. You know, in your family, obviously, it's a test for your family and a test for everybody in the building, you know, and I think what I really try to be intentional about is continuing to respect people and to treat people the right way on our team and in the building and our coaching staff who are giving everything they've got every single day to be the very best they can be. And I think I just want to be really conscientious of the fact that as a leader, you owe your people that, because as a leader, that you're here to serve them and to help them and do everything you can to put people in the best position to be successful with their jobs and to support them and to, you know, be honest with them too, sure. And that's a big part of it. And I think all the guys would tell you that I'm very honest and upfront and direct about whatever it might be, but do it in a way that's very respectful and appreciative of the amazing talent that we have. And that's the other thing is, like, if I didn't think we had the talent or the ability or the work ethic or the care factor from everybody in the building, then I wouldn't be as optimistic as I am. And what I present to you and to the fans in this setting here is the exact way I feel. Like, I'm not trying to stand up here and feed anybody any baloney or say things that aren't true or talk out of both sides of my mouth. I'm trying to be as honest and straightforward as I can about where we're at and what we need to do, and the same things that we're saying to our team. And that's all you can do. So, but from a faith standpoint, my trust is in my Creator and my God and my Lord and my Savior, Jesus Christ, and in the fact that I stand on the rock of that faith. And that's unshakable. So with that, I don't think I can be moved. I don't think I can be moved because I have that. And if I have that and I have my family, you know, then I've got everything I need. But you know what else I have? I have an owner who is an incredible man, an incredible leader, an incredible support, and a great friend who wants to be great and wants to help me do the best job I can do. And I have a general manager who feels the same way, and a team president, and Ozzie Newsome, and a coaching staff, and a staff, people like Chad, all through the building, that all they want to do is do their best. But then just a bunch of coaches and a bunch of players that's all they care about and all they think about. And that's I can stand on that. And then a fan base that I appreciate because I know how much they care and how much they want us to be great. And even when they're frustrated, and even if they say things that are hurtful, it's okay, because that's our job. That's our job. And it's also going to be great. It's going to be wonderful when things are rolling again and they can enjoy it like they're supposed to. And that's why we're working so hard to get it where it needs to be.
We don't talk to Steve barely at all in terms of on the record or for, you know, in interviews. What's his reaction to this start? Do you hear him regularly? Is the frustration of him and the 1-5 start evident?
You know, it's hard for me to, I don't want to speak for Steve. I would just say he's been great. All I can tell you just from my perspective, he's been great. Yeah, I think, I know he wants to win, you know, and I know he's turning over every rock too. I mean, we talk all the time, and he's turning over every rock as well. So I have just great respect for him and great appreciation for him, but I don't want to speak for him and how he feels. Okay, great, thanks.
Thanks, Tom.